Good morning. We got our receiver mast put on our planter. So Brock's here and he's gonna get this thing installed. He has the mast up there. Do you know what you're doing?
I think I can look at that one and figure it out.
I don't know. Do we trust him? He's gonna hurt himself is what he's gonna do. Anyway, that goes up there. I'll show you once we get it installed, but it's essentially the exact same thing as this other one. There are a couple of shims right here in case you need to, because it fits around this bracket here, much like this one. And there's a shim right in there on that one. So we'll get that put on. And then the plan is to take this out of here. There. Now it is offset, but we can put the measurements in the display to tell it how far offset it is. So my John Deere salesman, he's not really a salesman anymore, but anyway, he told me he would come out when we're ready to take this thing outside and help me get all the measurements right so that everything is perfect and how we want it. So yeah, we'll worry about that when we're ready to get stuff out. And Brock's getting the top plate bolted down there. That's what the GPS receiver will mount to. The other thing we need to do is run this wire harness. It plugs in down underneath this platform, this door, and runs up there. So we're going to figure out how to get that attached exactly. Well, we put a GPS receiver up there just to see how the cabling and everything is going to work. I don't want a huge amount of cable up here, so we're going to leave that one down pretty low. And it will attach right there, and then when we put this on, we can throw another zip tie on there to hold that in place. So the cable then runs down around here, and it ends up in this mess that is underneath this door. It is lots of wires, and we got some extras, so we'll pull it back. Yeah. This is where all the extra wires go to hang out on a corn planter. It's a mess. Okay, we've got that installed. It'd look better with a Starfire 7000 up there, but I have a 3000. I don't have a 7000. That's okay. So Brock's going through and trimming zip ties. We got a bunch of long tails. Even on some of this stuff out here, there are zip ties that never got trimmed off. So he's going to do that. That's all, like most of this is this one with the oranges, the Surefire system stuff. They just never trimmed their zip ties. So he's going to go through and do that. I am putting some stuff in the parts bin here. This is a CAN bus terminator. And it was on the planter. It came with a new one with that wire harness because that's kind of where you plug that thing in. Occasionally these go bad. This one is not bad, but they are a good thing to have. The question is, if I have one go bad, will I remember where I put it? Chances are no. But we'll put it in the planter parts section and hopefully we'll find it if we ever need it. Hopefully we'll never need it. Came out to the back here to see how hard that thing's going to be to get out because I want to get that out and put it in the shop here this morning. Not terrible. We got to move some Dad's wood out of the way, but not terrible. So looks like he's been building himself a shelf over here, cleaning some, reorganizing. Look at this. Very nice. That's sturdy, I would say. Cool. He's got his kiln room over here. Oh, kiln room over here that he's got some wood just stored in. It's not actually on and burning. But this room is heavily insulated. There's a little heater up there in the corner. We can keep it quite warm in here. But which also means we can keep it above freezing. And since I have some chemicals that we've got that aren't supposed to freeze, you're supposed to keep them above 40 degrees, I asked him if we could move this out of here and put some chemicals in there, close it up, and just keep them warm until the weather is warm enough that it doesn't freeze, and then we won't have to worry about it. So we might do that. This stuff over here is all fine. That's not a big deal, but some of the Ag Explorer stuff that's down in my seed warehouse, it says in big caps lock letters, do not freeze. So we'll have to put them inside. There. We won't be able to get that tractor out very easy now when we need it. But I imagine once I move this out of here, Dad's going to fill it with wood and move all that stuff anyway. So I think we're just going to use the 8R to pick this thing up and move it in the shop rather than using the 8RX because, well, I can hook it up to the 8R now. And yeah, we're just going to do that. Think we'll be able to get our planter in here and leave it hooked up? Crap. I don't know if it's going to be long enough. Get on at a little bit of an angle, maybe. Could move this tractor out of the way so we can back the planter right into that corner. That might work. I don't know. Well, we got it. We got a flat tire, though. That's going to be a problem. We're going to have to air that up before we pull it out. The other one looks okay. Look at it. Shop, at least. So, you're not supposed to use a quick coupler with this thing. We're not going to the field. We're just going to the shop. So I left it on there just easy for now. So we're going to pull up our stands. We'll get some air in that tire, and we'll go get the planter out of the shop. Brock's going to get an air tank so we can pump that tire up. Anybody need a river table? Epoxy river? Look at this board that Dad's got. Live edge split right down the middle. Oh, yeah. Could be perfect for it. A little thin maybe, but, you know. Well, while Brock's working on that tire, he's getting more air. Let's go ahead and get our planter hooked up here. Let's see if I remember how to drive this. Oh yeah, there we go. Well, we got it picked. We got to hook up our hoses here. Okay, we got all our hoses and wires hooked up. We should be able to fold this up and pull it right out of here. We'll see. Brock's struggling. Couldn't get enough air volume with just the tank, so he's got to figure out how to get an air compressor out there, which we have a little portable air compressor that will work just fine. So I'm going to figure out how to fold this up. We're getting it. It's following me. Oh, it's long. It's really, really long compared to what I'm used to anyway. So, all right, we're gonna see if we can't get this in the new barn here, backed in, and leave it hooked up. We'll unhook it if we have to, but I would prefer to just leave it hooked up. It's really hard to see with the glare in that back window, but we made it. I'm pretty sure we're in. Are we in, Brock? Okay. Good deal. Well, this tire turned into a giant pain in the butt. The bead was just off enough it was leaking and we couldn't get it. We had to jack it up. A bunch of blocks. We had to put a strap around it and squeeze it. Eventually it went, but yeah, so it's supposed to have 90 pounds in it. I figure since I'm already airing it up, I might as well get it up to where it's supposed to be. Finally, we're getting it. Now we just got to make the turn here and get out. So we'll go put this in the shop. Looks like it needs a bath. All right, we got that put in the shop there and unfolded. While we had access, I got my seed treatment chemicals out of the shop, and we got our inoculant here. I want to bring those in here where they're warm and heated. It's not terribly cold, frozen out today, but it's not warm, so they don't need to sit outside any longer than they need to. But my boxes are blocking the door. I guess I could come over to this door. But we need to dump these back anyway, so we're going to go ahead and take care of these. So we'll start dumping them back into boxes from where we took them out of yesterday. Somebody asked me, I was talking in yesterday's video about dumping those, you know, we put them back in the box that they came out of, and they said, well, you could dump them before you treat them into a different box and then treat into the box they came in. You're right, we could do that. However, occasionally, especially with super small seed beans, the treatment can make them a little bit sticky and they can bridge up. By dumping them after we treat them, it just breaks everything up, because once they're dry and you break them apart, they don't stick anymore. So, yeah. Say another safety precaution. Usually if the bean size is larger, they're not as sticky because there's more water in it compared to treatment. So you can see how they just bridge up just a little bit and then they start flowing. Okay, we're back down here and trying to figure out what all we need to do. So I'm going to explain this later, but there's a scenario where we may want to turn off the half rate hose that goes to this outside knife. And I wanted to make sure we had a valve in place to do so. We do. It's right here. That does it. That turns off that half rate. So I'll explain that later and why. I also noticed these hoses are not hooked up, and anhydrous hoses have expiration dates on them. So like this one here, it says remove no later than 2021. we pushed it a year. We're probably going to have to replace those hoses, so we need to get these big black ones off and check the rest of them on here. This big supply one I think we put on when we first got it, so those I think are okay. It's just the 3 section valves or hoses going to from the distributor there to the section valves, and we'll have to get some new hoses, either custom made or cut to fit, or cut them to fit with the ends that we can put on or something. But yeah, we'll figure that out. Okay, well, we've got 2 of the 3 hoses out. Brock's getting the 3rd one to the center section out there. Almost got it. These first 2 going to the wings, they are the same length. I'm guessing they're all the same length. Generally, you have to keep the hoses the same length so that the flow is the same, because if they're not the same length, it'll change how fast it flows, which is why we have all this black hose coiled up here, because they all have to be the same length as well. And this row unit is a lot closer to here than that row unit, so you measure the outside one, you make them all the same length, and then you got to coil up all the excess, which is all right there. But anyway, we're gonna have to get some new hoses. I need to measure these, figure out how long they are, and then we'll see if we can get some pre-made ones that'll work, that have a crimped on end, or if we have to do the same style with these bolt clamp on deals, which I would rather not do, but if that's what we got to do, that's what we got to do. So it's lunchtime. I'm going to lunch. Brock, I'm going to lunch. Okay. All right, I am back from lunch. Brock went home for the day. I don't have much for him to do this afternoon. If I go down and just treat some beans, I can do it myself. So we got all 3 of these hoses off. They are all about the same length, and they are like 19.5 feet, which is custom. But I think I can get pre-made hoses that are 20 feet long. They'll have the ends crimped on instead of these bolt-on crimp connectors or whatever. So I'm working on that. Those are expensive little hoses, but anhydrous equipment, kind of a safety thing that you have to replace them every so often. So these hoses, if you look at this side here, there's some stuff written on it, and it says 2015, that's manufacture date, remove no later than 2021. Whoops, we ran them an extra year. I didn't die, we'll be okay. So we're replacing them now. The other thing we're gonna do is add some swivels on here so that they're a little easier to get on and off. So we have those. We had them in the parts bin, just kind of waiting until we replaced these to do that. So anyway, other than that, I don't think there's a lot we need to do to this. We could pull the screens out of here, make sure that they are clean, and all the row units have already been gone through. Everything is greased. I'm gonna wash it off because I can, but other than that, it's in good shape. The blades are not new. We painted them when we got done last year just to make everything look nice and keep it shined up. But it does have new boots and new beaver tails. The blades are 22 new. They measured 21 3/4, so we've lost 1/4 of an inch. That's okay. That'll still run this year and probably next year too. All right, we were back down in the seed warehouse. I went and bought some plastic bags so I can have some for samples. Apparently I used all mine up last year, and we got some treater snacks there. Anyway, we gotta pull some samples out of these couple boxes that I left open, and then we can stack these up and get them off to the side out of the way until I'm ready to deliver them, hopefully soon. All right, I went ahead and got 6 boxes of the next variety down for me to treat. This one is a bit of a pain in the butt because we have 3 different lot numbers. So we have this lot number here, there's 2 boxes of, this one and the next one, and they are 2,768 seeds per pound. Then we have this lot number, and there's only one of them. They're 2,700 seeds per pound, which is close, but not the same. And then the other 3 are all the same, along with, I think, the whole rest of the row at 2,812. So none of them that are totally different, but they're all just enough different that we have to run them as separate batches, which is a giant pain in the butt. That's why I much prefer to take full truckloads of all the same variety when I can to get all the same lot number. These last 2 boxes came on one truck. This one came by itself. I don't know if I added some late maybe is why or what, but that's kind of the pain of this. However, we got to treat them at some point. We might as well get them done and get them out of the way and over with. And I will make sure when I'm delivering to customers that somebody who only got one box of this variety gets this one. Somebody who only got 2 boxes gets these 2, so that their lot numbers are, they don't have multiple lot numbers and have to worry about adjusting their planter or drill or whatever between lot numbers of the same variety. Once you set it for a variety, you kind of want to leave it until you're switch varieties or something and not have to change stuff in between. For a planter like we use, not a big deal. For guys using a drill that you have to adjust that meter based on seed size, that's a problem. These are close enough that it probably wouldn't be a problem, but still, that's how we're going to do it. All right, we are ready to go. I got all the lids off. We've got the first box, the single lot number up there. I got all the varietal stuff put in. I did all 3 of them as a separate variety, put it on the computer. I added some water and some Cruiser Max Apex to our tanks. Turned on the recirculation and the agitation in here. Get everything stirred up, mixed up, ready to go. And we're ready to turn those off. Change our valves. Process. Everything up there is good. We do not need to calibrate again today because this is exactly what we were running yesterday, and we only need to calibrate a couple of times a year when we're putting something new in. So we should be good. You can see we brought the rest of our chemicals down here. We can't have a whole lot left in this keg, actually. There's some, but it's I bet we've used more than half, 2/3 of it now. So I believe we're going to prime to the atomizer. There's a little bit of air in here. Shouldn't be a lot, but we'll just pump that. There we go. And now we should be good to go. Hit start. Make sure everything's right. Yeah, 190. That's exactly what we've got. Go. Open the box. All right, should work. Excellent. It's like it's supposed to. So yesterday we talked a lot about, the setup process and everything. Today I want to talk about how this treater works a little bit more, as well as what we're putting on it with the Cruiser Max Apex there. So obviously I showed you, we set the box up on top. There's that electric actuator, slide gate in there. That controls the flow of the seed. Okay? This is right here is the motor. There's the slide gate. And it will open and close to make the seed flow at a certain amount of pounds per minute. We're shooting for 700 pounds per minute. There are weigh cells, load cells on all 4 corners, so it's sensing the loss in weight to know how much we're doing. You can see right there we're at 740 pounds per minute. I would think that will... Oh no, that's total. That's total pounds run through. Flow rate right there. 699, 700, that's the pounds per minute. Okay, this is the weight remaining in the box and how long it has been running for. Okay, this up here is our chemicals. We're running Cruiser Max Apex and water at 1.96 ounces per seed count unit, 1.16 ounces per seed count unit of water, which I didn't change that from the first one, but we're actually just a little bit over 6 ounces. It's fine. It's totally fine. Anyway, that equals out to about 26.5 ounces per minute on the chemical and 15.7 roughly on the water ounces per minute that is running through there. So, the chemicals obviously are over here. They're coming down, going through that peristaltic pump, up through the flow meter, through this hose right here. You can see that water flowing. It's going back here, and it's going into this mix valve. This is the water. It kind of backfed a little bit overnight, so we got some red colorant in it. Hopefully that'll flush out. And then the other one is red. They're coming through here, getting all mixed up, going up this hose and into our atomizer. I showed that atomizer yesterday. It just spins around really fast in there. And what you can't really see is that the beans are coming through that gate, and then there's a cone, and it basically creates a cylinder of beans. So they fall around the outside. That atomizer sits inside and sprays them, and it coats the inside. They then fall down the chute, and let me turn my light on. And you can see them right there. Oh, we just ran out in the box. All right, we'll start there on the next box. All right, we just got the second box running. There they come. All right, so you can see the beans flowing down through there, and they don't look very red, right? Well, that's because that chemical is all on the inside. They got sprayed
and you know, it basically coated the inside of them, but not the outside. So they drop down into the auger there, and you can see on the bottom side, then they start to mix as they go up. Okay. And so then they go through that auger, and they mix, and they mix, and they mix, and then they get to here, and we're putting our dry powder in, the shiny glitter stuff, and then that mixes and mixes and mixes and mixes and mixes, and then they fall out into the box as shiny glittery beans, and you can see the dust flying all over because that's what happens with the glitter. Most of it sticks, some of it goes everywhere. A couple of key things to remember, at least for the person running the treater, and maybe not for you guys, but number one, it is a loss in weight system. You cannot touch this deck while it is running or it will screw everything up. You can't touch it. You can't have the forklift on there. It has to know how much weight is taking off of it. Number two, it matches the seed flow to meet what the chemical is pumping. It does not alter the flow from the pumps to match the seed flow. So it's going to set the pumps based on what our rates are per minute and the goal of how much units we're going to treat, and then it adjusts the seed flow to match that. Okay? There is, you know, certain amounts of liquid that you can put on and cannot put on, and the lighter you go, if you put less on, like say we were just using the Cruiser Max Apex and no water, we would get it all on there. We would probably even get it distributed okay, but we would have poor coverage as far as what the beans look like. They would be splotchy. You would be able to see the bean through and not totally covered and coated like we want. The more water you put on, the wetter they are, the longer they take to dry, the stickier they are, the more bridging you're going to have. So that sweet spot is 6 to 8 fluid ounces per 100 weight, per 100 pounds of beans. The powder, the glitter, it is there to make the beans look nice, makes them shiny, but it also helps add some drying and dry those beans off a little bit better so that they don't stick and that they flow better. Yeah, so that's how the treater works. Any questions on that, let me know. But we also have this third pump stand. It works the same way as the other two, except for it does not automatically adjust. We have a dial here, very much like we do on our dry applicator, that we have to dial the rate into exactly what we want. All right, now let's talk about what we're putting on here. Cruiser Max Apex. Last year we used a product called Cruiser Max Vibrance. Cruiser Max Vibrance is basically, well, Cruiser Max Apex is basically Cruiser Max Vibrance with an added fungicide in it. So if we look at this label here, you'll see exactly what it is. We have thiamethoxin. Thiamethoxin is an insecticide. It is for control of bugs that will either feed on the seed or the seedling. It is a systemic insecticide, meaning that it will get taken up through the roots of the plant, translocated to the leaf tissue. The biggest benefit that I have seen, physically seen from that, is when we have an early season flush of bean leaf beetle. Bean leaf beetle will come in and they'll feed on the cotyledons, on the leaves, when those first young leaves are coming out, the unifoliate, the first trifoliate. I have personally seen in field side-by-sides where we had Cruiser Max at the time. It was just basic Cruiser Max. It wasn't even Cruiser Max Vibrance. Next to Apron Max, which is the fungicide package without the insecticide. And you could see to the row where the Cruiser Max was planted because it had no feeding from the bean leaf beetle. It also will protect against wireworm, white grub, some of those bugs that live in the soil and feed on the seed directly. Okay. We then have 4 different fungicides. We have mefenoxam, which is the Apron. Picrobutrazox, that is the Apex, what did we call that? Viantis. Standalone, its name is Viantis. Fluidinoxyl is that, I'd have to look up the trade names on this. And then Sedaxin, that's the Vibrance component. This might be Maxim, the fluidinoxyl, I don't know. But anyway, they all have different diseases that they target. And we can have different diseases depending on the weather conditions and the soil temperatures and that kind of stuff. So when we're talking about soybean diseases, there's a few of them that are our key ones, especially around here, right? So Fusarium is a big one. Pythium and Phytophthora can be big. And Rhizoctonia is another one. Now, I am reading part of this right off of Golden Harvest's website, so don't think that I have this all in the back of my head. But like I said, some of them are better in certain conditions and environments than others. For example, Pythium is a water fungus, a water mold, and it moves in soil water, and it prefers cold, cool soil conditions. So in our cold, wet conditions, typical of early planting here in southern Michigan, northern Ohio, Pythium can be a big problem. Same with Phytophthora. Moves in water, prefers cooler environments, okay? But then as we move to the Rhizoctonia and Fusarium, they are soil-borne, not waterborne, and much prefer dry soil conditions and warmer temperatures. So a lot of people will say, well, the warmer it gets you, the less you need seed treatments. While there's some merit to that, there are still seedling diseases that can affect that seed in a warm, dry environment like we might have towards the end of May or June. Although typically we could be warm and wet at that time too, in which case you could get a little bit of crossover from both. So that's what the fungicides are for. Different components of that fungicide attack different parts of those, or different diseases and different control on those. And so that's why there's 4 of them, for increased control of all of the major seedling diseases, and probably a bunch of seedling diseases that I'm not aware of. And that's what we're putting on beans today. We have a couple other things that we'll add later. We'll talk about those when we start adding them. Oh man, well, I got those 6 boxes done, and I'm trying to figure out what to treat next. And I've got some 2505s here. 2.5 bean that I have 5 boxes that need to be treated. So, okay, let's do those. Problem is with that variety, I also have an odd box. So I have a customer who didn't need, he buys exactly what he needs for the field that he's going to plant that hybrid or variety in. And in this particular field, he needed 64, I believe, or maybe it was 104. I think it was 104 units of soybeans. Well, 104 does not divide by 40, which is how many units are in a box. So he bought 2 boxes and then wanted another 24 bags. And I said, well, I can get you the 24 paper bags. You can take them just like that. Or I can get them in untreated, dump them in a box for you. I have plenty of extra boxes. I'll run them through my treater. You'll just have 2.5 boxes essentially then. And so that is what we were going to do. So I had to get a box down. My boxes, or empty boxes, are stored way over there in that corner. There's 10 of them there, or there's 9 now, because I got one out here. I got it opened back up, or stood back up. That was in the way. That's going to be in the way, so I'm going to actually just take that back to the farm and get it out of here. We had to put this box back together, put the, flip the top half over. The outside is dirty. I don't care about that. A little bit of weed at the bottom, though. That is a problem. So we'll just open our slide gate up, dump it on the ground, and we can bring our floor sweeper over and clean that up after we move the box. This is the same variety, 2505. So we'll take those bags, dump them in that box, 24 of them. Gives me 104. And then we can treat that. And because we're treating this year with a straight Cruiser Max Apex, and we aren't having to blend in apron and other stuff, it doesn't matter. I can do that. Before I tried to work in multiples of 40 because everything had to be measured out specific for how many boxes I was treating and exactly the right amount of chemical put in the tank. Oh, it's so nice not having to do that. So we're gonna dump these in there and go. Well, I sure managed to create a little more work for myself there. Bags suck. Anyway, we got our 24 in that box, so we need to put this back. This dang seed tender's in the way. We're gonna have to move that before we do much else. Ta-da, I'm back. I got rid of the seed tender. Took it down, put it in the back of the shop. Dad's cleaning out the back barn there where we moved the seed tender, or the anhydrous applicator this morning. I've got those couple of pallets of Ag Explore products down here, of my foliar fertilizers and such. And they all say do not freeze on them, which is why they're here, because I have heat. I don't really want them in my shop. All of this stuff. And so he's cleaning out that kiln room. We're going to put this stuff down there, but I buried it. We can't get to it right now, so it'll have to wait. Also, got my source in. This is source corn. This one jug treats 183 acres. Crazy. 1 gallon. Anyway, got that one. This is source DC. This is for wheat. We're going to try that and experiment on some wheat. And then over here, We have a 2.5 gallon, 5 gallons, two jugs of source soybeans. That's the product that we used last year. Saw about a 3 bushel return from it. So I bought some more this year. We're going to test some more on a wider scale. Got a jug of their corn stuff. I've heard really good things. I've heard great things from other people that have used it. I have not heard the outright failures that I've heard with some of the other companies that are in this space, although very different modes of action. And man, Sound Ag has been a great company to work with. So I am a dealer for them. That's what I bought for myself. If that tells you anything, I'm still testing it. I'm still learning it. But I am a dealer for them. If anybody is local and interested, regional and interested, let me know. We can get you hooked up. Heck, I'm pretty sure they'll direct ship to you. I don't care where you're at in the country. If you want to try some, I'll sell it to you. Let me know. I'll have them ship it directly to you. So these boxes, this box in particular, was sitting on the top of that stack right there, right directly underneath my heater. It is not warm, melty, nothing. Like, we have plenty of clearance. I know some people were worried about the boxes sitting under there. Not an issue. These beans are quite a bit larger than what we have been treating. They look generally better than the ones we treated yesterday. There's a little more discoloration or just splotchiness. That's kind of a characteristics of the enlist beans. I don't know why, but it seems to be fairly common, just that they're a little discolored. But the seed coats look to be in better shape. There's a few that are off a little bit, but big beans, that's what we notice here, is that they are enormous. 2,450 seeds per pound. I have seen bigger, but that is on the larger side. So for reference, a 50 pound bag at 140,000 seed count would be 2,800 seeds per pound. So 140,000 here weighs 57.14. Those are heavy bags. I know that because I just dumped a bunch of them in this box down here, which are going to have a slightly different seed size, different lot number, so we'll have to run this box separate like we did the last time. We had 3 different lot numbers. We have 2 this time. Nope, I take it back. We got lucky. They are different lot numbers, but they are identical seed size. My guess is that they actually came from the same field, same bin, same lot, same everything. They just put a different lot number on the bags versus the boxes, but they're the same, so we don't have to worry about that. All right, we're going to get a pile of beans done here. This is good. So we're working on box number 5, the last of the full ones. We've got our partial box there, plus the 6 we did earlier. That's almost 12 boxes of beans today. I mean, this isn't huge numbers, but heck, we didn't start till 2:30, 3 o'clock anyway. So, and they look really good. I'm super happy with how the treatment looks on the beans, the shine and luster. They have some luster, let's call it. So yeah, all is going well. We'll finish this last box, and then I'm going to call it a night here. All right, we are done. We'll charge some forklifts here. Oh, look at the glitter in the sunlight. Oh, gosh, it's everywhere. Okay, this one's charging. Maybe I'll come back later and plug the other one in, or we'll plug it in the morning. Whatever. That is... No, it's not. I take it back. I heard back from the customer with that long line there, and we need to tear through that and find some specific ones. He's got a couple of different treatments that we're going to use on stuff, but a lot of them are just the base Cruiser Max Apex, and so we can treat all of those as soon as we can get them in there, or get to them. So I do want to try and get some of these out of here and delivered, and so we might work on that maybe tomorrow, maybe Thursday. I don't know. One of these days. Is it tomorrow? No, it's Friday. It's supposed to be really warm, but it's supposed to rain, and it might rain tomorrow. Although the sun's shining today, it's nice out. I should go deliver some, but it's 5:30 and nobody wants to take seed now.